Hello and good morning, listeners. Welcome back to Almus Market Mornings, your daily dose of global financial updates. I'm your host, Swaraj Rajagopal, and we have got you covered on everything from currency shifts to pivotal central bank decisions and important speeches. Plus, you'll gain expert analysis on macroeconomic data that's shaping the market narrative right now. Join us for this episode and navigate the markets with confidence. The great theory of what's known and what's unknown to us has a very profound meaning. There are things we don't know, and then there are things we don't know that we don't know. Markets often follow this very framework. Yesterday, the government announced that Mr. Sanjeev Malhotra would take over as the new RBI governor from 11th of December. Many listeners have this question of how the rupee will behave under the new governor, and I'm sure that's something all stakeholders would be interested to know. Good morning, JK. Amidst all the global developments, please do share your thoughts on this appointment. Any theories on how this may pan out?
Hey, good morning, Swaraj. I think let us go by what we know only. We know he comes with a lot of credentials. He has an experience in the public finance, and he has been in the revenue as a revenue secretary for quite a good amount of time. So I think uh, we should expect another good governor for RBI, and obviously the kind of coordination that we have seen over the governor and or rather RBI and the government should continue. This is what I feel, because he being in the government for quite some time also knows the policies of the government very deeply and all that. So as far as the rupee is concerned, if you want to specifically answer, I think market should not go overboard thinking that it will be a totally different policy of management, etc., because every policy on the be it interest rate or currency is all arrived at after a lot of deliberation and a lot of thinking. So these things are not just they don't change overnight just because new governor has to, even there is going if there is going to be a change, it will take some time based on good thinking and newly changed circumstances. That is my thought about this. So I think continuation will be the thing. We continue to look, at least for the time being, at the FII inflows or outflows, and then the dollar index movement. This is what I would think. So the rupee did, of course, weaken to 90, and I cannot relate that movement to the new appointment, whether market is assuming different policies, etc. So I would refrain from assumptions. Just as what Powell said, when Trump was elected, he said in this meeting, we don't want to assume what the policies will be and what the implications of those policies will be. So we will go by our mandate of the inflation and growth. So that's the way we give the market. I think eventually go with the flows and over the years, whether irrespective of who the governor is, I think RBI has always tried to manage volatility. And of course, it was managed more severely in the last regime, and we will see whether that will continue or there will be a bit of relaxation. So that's my overall view on this matter. As far as the global markets is concerned, I think we continue to see a range movement, and we did not have too much of data points yesterday. We did, of course, have some minor data from US. The Conference Board's employment trend index was quite stronger, and it again supported the strong labor market data that was seen on last Friday. We also had the New York Fed consumer expectations, and that surged to the highest level since February 2020. Obviously, the consumer expectations are being influenced by election of Mr. Trump, who is come with majority, and also in the House and Senate, which paves way for good reforms and relaxations. Then the even the house the inflation expectations have been slightly higher across tenor 1 year to 5 year by 0.1. That again has relation to what the tariffs can do to the prices. Now, and the market expectation, these data are not really of much significance. Market is more looking at the upcoming CPI data from US. That is tomorrow. The headline inflation is expected to rise by 0.1%. Otherwise, most of the numbers are expected to be the same. The last week's unemployment rate coming almost at 4.3% has a cemented expectation of 0.24% rate cut by Fed. So that's clearly an expectation. Although dollar continues to hover in ranges, as far as the yields are concerned, there's huge amount of supply of paper. 3-year and 30-year big amounts that's actually again supported the yields, and possibly we are slightly moving away from the lower end of the range in the yields. On the overall, talking of central bank meetings, we have one meeting today, Australian Central Bank, possibly turning dovish for the first time because of the recent weak GDP number. Bank of Canada and the Swiss National Bank will be meeting tomorrow, this week. Of course, Bank of Canada tomorrow and Swiss National Bank on the Friday. And these meetings also will, see the central bank cutting rates by 0.5%. Then, of course, we have the ECB meeting, where 0.25 is the consensus, but 0.5 is not ruled out. So we are still, in that central bank meeting. Of course, we later on we'll be followed by Fed meeting and the Bank of Japan meeting. So market is overwhelmed by these, central bank policy meetings ahead, which are going to be not remaining unchanged. Most of them are going to undergo a shift on the downside, but these are not that something which are not discounted. Only uncertainty still remains about Bank of Japan. Till yesterday, there was an expectation that Bank of Japan will be hiking rate by 0.25%, but that expectation seemed to be slightly, reduced, in the last last 1 day session, with yen also again weakening towards 151. But we really do not know the BOJ's thinking clearly, because there have been very conflicting statements from the members as well. As I said, the dollar has been hovering in the ranges. Euro holding the downside well, but at the same time, upside also remains well capped. I think awaits a trigger from the ECB for the next move on the euro, and perhaps year-end factors also supporting on the downside, because there can be some year-end squaring up of dollar longs, which are quite high in the market. Also on the geopolitical side, the fall of the Syrian government, taken over by the military forces, is actually significant in the sense that it's actually put the Iranian and the Russian forces who were supporting the Assad government, he is now seen weak, and possibly this gives a boost to the Israeli efforts to further pursue their agenda of finishing the militant groups which are supported by Iran. So that's one thing that can be seen. And in fact, some experts are also viewing that they can also completely, weaken the Iranian forces going forward, because they have seen a big boost to their efforts in the last 3 months. So the geopolitical influence is not going to go away. Also, some experts also view that Russia, having been seen as a weak in not being able to protect the Assad government, is also possibly will come out for negotiation on the ceasefire in the Russia-Ukraine war as well. So a lot of uncertainty, but definitely something that we cannot sleep over as far as the geopolitical concerns are concerned. On the rupee, in the near term, I think very, very well supported on the downside at 84.60. Upside, we had seen 84.90 also traded, but currently showing at 84, 83, which was also already seen earlier also. So I think range movement, but guided by if, flows and the dollar is what I should think. Until we see maybe some hints will come from the new governor when he takes on the uh, press or other forums to express his views. So till then, I think stability should be the order of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, JK. And when it comes to the RBI governor, as you said, we can expect some good coordination between the government and the RBI. And of course, Mr. Malhotra is highly qualified and has served as a revenue secretary. But it's important to note that rupee's behavior might still remain more or less similar because it is driven by flows and how the broad dollar also behaves. Yesterday, even though rupee weakened to 84.90, it can't be linked to this particular appointment. So that's also a very important thing to note. And rupee, of course, is well supported around 84.60 as a good base. When it comes to global markets, there was a range-bound movement in currencies due to lack of data points. Inflation expectations released yesterday showed a bit of increase from the 1 to 5 year tenors, but markets are gearing up more towards the US CPI data, which is going to be released tomorrow. And when it comes to the pricing, the rate cut pricing, it is currently pricing a 25 basis point cut in December. Even more probability increased for the cut because of the unemployment rate, which was released last week, which showed some sort of uptick. We have got some central bank meetings also this week. We have got the Australian central bank rate decision, which is due today. Or possibly a dovish tone can be expected as shown by the weak GDP print. That's it from us today. Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow for the latest in the financial markets.